Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing okay on the lovely Monday morning. We actually have some sun today, as you can see, which is very nice. So I'll just give you guys a minute or two to get yourself settled in. It's a new week, so we are going to be exploring a new theme. I am going to focus on the philosophical side of yoga for this series. And I'm going to try my best to align it with Islamic principles, hadiths, Quranic values, things like that. So that we are practicing yoga in its entirety. We're not ignoring the spiritual, philosophical side of it, but we are making sure it is aligned with our beliefs. It's not compromising anything, and it's strengthening our connection with Allah. So this week we are going to be looking at the yamas. So yoga is basically an 8-limbed path. So the part that most people know is the third limb, and that's asana. That's the physical postures, the stretching. But yoga has 8 limbs, and only one of those limbs is physical. All of the others are to do with philosophy. So we have behavior, how we treat others, how we treat ourselves, breath work, and contemplation. So spiritual practices that connect us with a higher power. So we can use all of these to benefit our Islamic practices that we already have. So nothing that we do in these yoga classes is going to take us away from Islam. It's only going to strengthen our connection. So today we're looking at the first limb, the first element of the first limb. There's 5 elements, so we'll go through each one each day. And today we're looking at ahimsa. So the first limb on the yoga 8-limbed path is yama, and that is how we treat others. So these are things that we're not supposed to do, we shouldn't be doing. And it aligns very, very well with Islam in that sense, because it's the things that we avoid and how we treat other people. So like our behavior in Islam is a very, very important thing. Things we should and shouldn't do is very important. It's why we have halal and haram things. So just as we start by controlling our behavior in Islam to connect to Allah, we do the same thing in yoga. We start with our behavior to connect to a higher power. So this first limb, ahimsa, non-harm, basically means not harming others and not harming yourself. So to start the class today, I'd like you to get into your comfortable seat and just start slowing down the breathing. And we're going to start to turn our attention to different ways that we practice non-harm on a daily basis. So acts of kindness that we do to other people, or not physically hurting yourself, not physically hurting others, controlling your anger, having good thoughts about others. You see, Islam takes non-harm a step further. It's not just not harming other people, it's enjoining good. So just starting the class today, thinking about how we already do these things, how we're already practicing non-harm. So just taking a few nice deep breaths here, and then if you have a cushion or a bolster or something to lie down on, that's where we're going to start today. So coming onto our backs, just having something underneath your spine so that your chest is elevated. So you can see as I lie down here, my chest is open up to the sky. So that's how I'd like us to start the class today, as much as possible. If you don't have a cushion or something to elevate your chest, you can just lie down on the floor and start to turn your attention to the heart space, the chest space. So coming down onto our backs, closing the eyes. And we're just starting to think about the concept of non-harm and how that shows up for us on a daily basis. Thinking about how we treat other people, how we treat the living things, so how we treat plants and animals and this earth that we've been gifted. And then maybe starting to think about how we can use this concept of non-harm in our practice today. So we will be going through a few different heart-opening postures today, which can cause a lot of discomfort, they can cause us pain, and they can cause us injury if we push our bodies too far. So today I want you, during all of the postures that we explore, to think about how you can practice it in a way that's not harming your body. And one way that we can do this is awareness. So having that awareness of what your body needs on that day. So maybe just gently noticing how the different parts of your body feel as you open up the chest, as you release yourself to gravity. And then just lengthening those inhales, lengthening the exhales, taking your right hand to your stomach, your left hand to your heart. And in order to cultivate this awareness of what our body needs in order to not harm ourselves throughout the practice, we can connect to this deep belly breathing. So if you've practiced with me before, you know that we have worked on raising the hand that is on your stomach before the one that is on your chest. So really breathing into the stomach. Feeling your breath start to elongate. Noticing how much more air we can get into our torso. Good. And then if we are on our backs, if you have something underneath you, just remove that from your spine and slowly, gently come all the way up to a seated position. Taking the hands in front of you, interlacing the fingers, and push the palms away from your body. So you're really rounding across the upper spine here, like you're pushing your spine away as you push your palms away. And as you do this, you're breathing out, tucking your chin down to your chest. And then on your inhale, bring the arms up overhead, push the chest forward, round through the spine. Exhale to bring the hands back down. Inhale to bring them up. Exhale the arms back down. Inhale the arms up. Good. And then on your next exhale, drop your left hand to your right knee and bend over to the left, reaching your right arm up overhead. Really try and keep that right arm straight so you're creating an energetic line through the tips of the fingers. Your sit bones are both glued to the mat, so all of the energy is coming across the side of the body here. Inhale to come up and exhale to drop the right hand down the back of the body. So we're twisting to the right, and you might be able to bring your gaze over that right shoulder. Remember, we're not harming the body here, so thinking about what the neck needs, thinking about how much your breathing is constricted as you twist, making sure everything stays nice and open. Inhale to bring the arms back up to center, interlace the fingers and push the hands up. Really pushing the palms away from your shoulders here. Inhale and then exhale, bringing the right hand onto the left knee. The left arm bends over to the right. Inhale back up to center and exhale to drop the left hand to the back. We're twisting over that left shoulder. Inhale back to center. We're going to cross both hands on the knees this time, and then push. You're rounding up through the upper back, so I'll show you from the side. The kind of movement that we just did earlier, but with your hands on your knees. So you're rounding through the upper back, tucking the chin, pushing, pushing, pushing. Inhale to release the hands, bring them to the back. Fingers are facing the back of the room, and push the chest forward. Drop the head back, chin comes up to the ceiling. Big deep inhales and exhales here. Really breathing into that chest space. Inhale to walk the hands back up and exhale to walk them forward as you fold over your legs. Inhale to walk the hands all the way back. And then we're going to plant the hands in front of you, roll over onto the knees, and then walk the legs back, coming into our tabletop here. So we'll do some gentle spine warm-ups with some cat-cows. So inhaling to drop the stomach, gaze up at the sky. Exhale to round through the upper back, push the ground away from you, gaze at your thighs. Inhale to drop the stomach, gaze up. Exhale, round the spine, gaze down. Inhaling to look up. Exhaling to look down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. And then keeping your hips over your knees, so keeping this a nice straight line, you're going to walk the hands as far as you can, and we're going to sink the chest down to the mat. So this is quite an intense opener across the top of the shoulders. So listening to the body, not harming the body. We're only taking it as far as you can feel the stretch without it impacting your breathing or really hurting. So we're walking down. You can bring your chin to the mat or your forehead, whichever reaches first. And then just breathing here. This is such a good posture for counteracting sitting at a desk or looking down at your phone. You're using the tops of your feet to really push into the floor. And then grounding down through your hands, we're going to ripple forward. So imagine a piece of string is pulling you. from the top of your spine, and you're going to round all the way up until you can drop your pelvis and your stomach. And then we're going to drop the forearms again and come into our Sphinx. So your forearms are parallel with your shoulders, your hands are planted on the mat, and you're going to pull the chest through the arms. Just keeping your gaze nicely in front of you. Your pelvis, the front of your hips, is glued to the floor. And then dropping the chest, hands come underneath the shoulders, and then on your next inhale, push the ground away. Bend through the spine and come all the way up into your cobra. You can keep a nice bend in the elbows here, or you can straighten them all the way, whichever is the variation that your body is calling for today. Exhale to drop the chest to the floor. And we're going to explore a couple of variations of locust now. This is an intense back bend, but it's also a great strengthener of the lower back and the upper back. And this is exactly what we need for our strength and stability in most of our yoga poses and throughout our day, just to maintain that spine and keep our posture nice and strong. So we're going to just see where our body finds these poses today. We're going to have compassion for whatever happens. We're just going to play about with them, no expectations, no harm on the body. Just see what you can do today. So starting on our stomach, hands are down by the sides. And to start off, we're going to keep the chest on the floor. Inhale just to lift the legs. So you're not thinking about sending your feet as far up as you can. You're thinking of lifting and extending. So we're like pushing the legs to the back of the room. So all of your legs are engaged here. Your glutes are engaged, your thighs, your quads. And then exhale to lower the feet. And then the next time we come up, we're just going to come up on the arms and the chest. The legs are going to stay on the floor. So inhale to come up with the chest, squeeze the upper back. See how much you can lift. And then exhale, coming all the way down. You can turn your head to the side, take a few breaths here. And then we're going to try full locust. So this time, your hands and feet are going to come up at the same time. So we're just going to see how much lift we get today. Remember, we're not lifting up, we're lifting back. So you're lengthening the body. So coming down all the way, and then inhale, lifting the arms and the legs. Everything's nice and strong and engaged. We're squeezing the upper back, the lower back together. And then exhale to lower the chest, the legs, and the head. Very good. Just taking a breath here. And then we're going to do one more variation. Instead of the hands being next to the body, we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back and use the fist to pull the chest up. So let's try this one together. You can also stick with the last variation if this feels too uncomfortable for you today. So inhaling to come up, using that fist to pull the chest up even more. And then exhale, lower all the way down. You can bring the hands, forearms in front of the head, and just rest your forehead down. Good. And then we're going to take one more variation of this kind of pose. This is called bow pose. So If you haven't practiced bow pose before, I'll take you through it, but this is quite an intense shoulder opener and back bend. So if you would prefer to just do another variation of the locust, that is absolutely fine. Remember, we are meeting the body where it is today. We are showing it compassion. So we're not forcing it into a posture just because I've given you the option. I want you to really take this time to listen to what your body personally needs today. So first of all, just warming up this front of the leg. So planting down the left arm, the left forearm, turn over to the right, and then bring your hand onto that foot. You can bring this foot in towards the body, and then turn back so that right hip is glued to the mat. This might be enough of a stretch on the front of the foot, or you can bring the thumb underneath into the bit where the foot arches, and the fingers come on top, elbow points up to the sky, and we push that foot back into the body. This is a very intense stretch, so please only do this if you feel like your body is very open or you've practiced this before. If not, we're just going to stay with a nice little quad stretch. Exhale to lower the foot, swap sides. So the right forearm comes down, opening up to the left, and then we bring that left foot in towards the glute. The left hip comes down to the mat, and we're squeezing that foot in as much as we can. Exhale to drop. Okay, so we're going to practice our bow pose now. So taking the hands behind you, bending both feet towards your butt, and we're going to grab the elbows. So your hands are on the outside edge of the, grab the elbows, sorry, you're grabbing your ankles. So the hands are on the outside edge of the ankles. Your knees are bent, feet are in towards the body, and we've got our stomach down on the floor in this little ball. And what we're going to do is inhale, lift the chest, lift the feet. We're pushing the feet into the hands and coming up. So we'll do this together, taking one deep inhale and coming all the way up into our bow. Squeezing here, trying to breathe, coming back to the breath, noticing the sensations in the body. And then exhale to lower. Bring the hands back down to the mat and release the head. Good. Take your right arm out next to you with the palm facing down. The left hand, the palm is planted next to your left shoulder. Lift up your left foot and then bring it all the way around onto the right side. Plant that foot down and feel the opening across the front of the chest on the right hand side. Inhale to roll back over to center. Your right hand is going to come underneath the right shoulder. Left arm extends out to the side, palm facing down. That right foot comes up and rolls over to the left and plant it down. So we're opening across the left shoulder this time. Inhale to come back to center. And then push yourself all the way up into a kneeling position. And we're going to explore some camel pose movements here now. So one dynamic way that we can enter this pose is with the swing of the arms. So you place your right hand behind your right foot, push your hips forward and bring the left arm up overhead. Exhale to lower the hips back down. Bring the left hand down by the left foot. Push your hips forward and the right arm comes up overhead. Exhale to drop the hips. Swing the right hand down by the right foot. And we're kind of flowing between these two poses, syncing it with the breath. So inhaling, sweep the arm. Exhale back. Then exhale all the way across. Inhale, push the hips up. Exhale, drop the hips, sweep the arms forward. Inhale, push the hips up. And then inhale, exhale all the way around. Inhale, push the hips up. Good. Now, exhale to drop the hips. And we're going to try full camel pose. Now, this is another very intense chest and shoulder opener. So this can cause a little bit of panic in some people because it's a very unnatural position for your spine to be in. So sticking with the theme of the class, if you feel that panic, if you feel that fear, we're just going to come out of it today. We're not going to face a fear that we don't need to face. We're focusing on giving our body what it needs today. The fear is for another day. That's for another theme. That's for a different day. Today we are just focusing on giving our body what it needs, not harming it in any way. So if you come up onto your knees, your hips all the way up, they're over your knees. Bring your hands onto your lower back. So your fingers are kind of facing down towards your butt and your thumb is wrapped around your waist. As you exhale, start to send your hips forward and then pull your chest up and see if you can start to bend back. We're bending back and trying to look towards the back of the room. We're keeping our breath here, so if at any point bending back stops you from breathing, we're going to stay there. We're going to stay with the breath. We're not pushing ourselves to not be able to breathe. So if you can get yourself a little bit further down, we might be able to release the right hand onto the right foot, and then maybe release the left hand onto the left foot, and use those hands to push our chest up even more. If not, that's okay. Our hands are still on our lower back. Inhale to straighten the spine. Exhale to drop your hips down to your heels. And we're going to drop the torso down, drop the forehead, and the hands are going to come next to the body with the palms facing up. We've just explored some very intense, confronting heart openers that really do raise the heart rate, spike the nervous system, spike the energy levels of the body, which can be quite intense for us if we haven't done them before. So hopefully you have been able to face some uncomfortable feelings, face some fear, but be able to listen to your body and know what is actually harming it and what is a natural response to an uncomfortable position. So staying in this child's pose, we're just noticing as our heart rate starts to slow back down to normal, we're coming back to our original state. And then swinging your feet out to the side, we're going to come onto our backs. Plant the feet down onto the mat, so your knees are bent. And then take your hand and grab your right foot. Lift your hips up and then see if you can maybe tuck that foot underneath. So we're stretching the front of the foot here. If this is too intense, you can keep your foot untucked, keep the feet bent, and just focus on squeezing your thighs together to lift your hips. But if we have that foot bent, the focus is less on squeezing the legs together, more on focusing on that left leg to keep the elevation there. Exhale to untuck that foot, and then we're going to take the left foot and tuck that one under. This time we're squeezing the right glute, the right thigh to keep those hips elevated. And then untuck that foot, drop the hips down, bring the knees all the way into the chest, give yourself a nice big hug. And then extend that left leg, the right knee is in towards the chest, and we'll take a twist. So bring the right knee over onto the left side, your right arm extends along the mat, and we're gazing towards the right fingers. Inhale back to center. That knee is in the chest. This time we're not holding it, we're just squeezing it into the chest. And then see if we can extend that leg. It might come down as you try and extend it. You might not be able to keep the knee as into the body, but we're just seeing where that foot lands as we extend that leg. And then exhale, drop it all the way down. Inhale, the left knee comes into the chest this time. Squeezing it in with your hands. And then exhale, pull it over to the right. As I've said before, I'd rather both of your shoulders be on the floor than you get this knee down and the left shoulder comes up. So the focus is on keeping the top of your shoulders flat, and then you can feel the twist in the middle of your spine. Inhale to bring it back up to center. Your hands are down by your side. We're just squeezing that knee into the body as much as we can without our hands, just with our muscles. And then we're pushing that heel up to the sky, straightening that leg as much as we can. Really engaging that leg, so we're just using the muscles to keep it extended. And then exhale, lower all the way down. You can bring the soles of your feet together here. One hand on your stomach, one hand on your heart. And just take some nice deep breaths here as we come to the end of our practice. Noticing how the body feels now compared to the start. Thinking about how this practice was for us today, if anything mentally came up that we had to confront, if anything physically came up that we had to confront. We might have explored some new postures today, put our bodies into positions they haven't been in before. We might have done some poses that we're very used to, but today we weren't as able to go as far into them, and that's okay. Ahimsa, or non-harm, is all about awareness. And having this awareness of our body and the things it needs. And we might have had to think about all of the different ways that we practice non-harm. And maybe we can think about the different ways that we practice non-harm in the class today. If there were any times that you could have stayed a little bit longer in a pose, gone a little bit deeper in a pose, but you chose to listen to your body. So just lengthening those inhales, lengthening those exhales, noticing what thoughts are arising, and trying our best to meet them without judgment. So just noticing the thoughts. There's a big misconception that meditation is all about having a quiet mind, but meditation is actually about dealing with the noise of the mind. So instead of fighting the thoughts that come up, we just notice them. We don't judge them. And if we can do this with our thoughts, we can extend that to ourselves, our actions, and to other people. And there's a hadith that as Muslims, we shouldn't harm and we shouldn't be harmed. So this is just a gentle reminder that we have no need to be afraid of being harmed by others because of al-mani, the preventer or the defender. We know Allah prevents us from harm and protects us from danger. So we know that even when we practice ahimsa, we practice non-harm to others, we are being protected by al-mani. And this can bring us comfort in times where harm has happened to us because we know it's part of a bigger purpose. That a small harm might have happened to us to prevent a bigger harm happening to us in the long run. So as Muslims, we can practice this concept of ahimsa knowing that we have the Almighty Defender to help us when it comes to not harming others and not being harmed ourselves. We take these concepts of individualism, all the things that we can do personally, but we also place them in the wider context of our Creator. So in this last minute or so, just thanking your body for all it's done for you today, thanking yourself for showing up, for trying to maintain these good, consistent habits as we come into the month of Ramadan, which starts next week, alhamdulillah. And just to end the class, I will read a little verse from the Quran just to reflect on for the rest of our day. Let's see. Complementary in creation. So we created you in pairs, is the verse. Consider the harmony and balance that exist in the union of opposites, male and female, day and night, sun and moon. How does this divine pairing teach you about understanding, appreciating, and respecting differences? I think this idea of pairs is a very good concept when we're thinking about good and bad. So we can see a lot of evil happening in the world right now, and it can be quite hard to maintain that faith in it is part of a bigger picture. So considering these ideas of opposites and how we can't have the good without the bad, we need the light. We need the dark to show us the light is a good way of thinking about how we can cope with these bad things that we're seeing happen on a daily basis. And ahimsa is just one of those ways that we can prevent creating these problems ourselves. So I hope you've enjoyed today's class. I hope it's given you some things to think about in terms of how we treat other people. And tomorrow we will be back for another mindful movement session with a focus on satya, or truthfulness. So, inshallah, I will see you guys tomorrow for that one. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Goodbye.